In this video, I'm going to go over some topics that we have gone through in 703 so far. Prevalence and incidence are two similar measures of frequency, but it's important to distinguish between the two. Prevalence measures the frequency of occurrences in a population during a specific period of time, while incidence measures the frequency of new occurrences in a population during a specific time period. Prevalence is a function of incidence and duration of time, and because it takes duration into account, incidence is the preferred measure. In the example I used of measuring the frequency of mono cases at Duke, prevalence would be less beneficial to measure since the length of mono varies for different patients, and it would be better to measure the frequency of new mono cases in the month of April through incidence, where we would not take the varying duration of mono into account. Next, I want to discuss the difference between a prospective cohort study and a clinical trial. One key distinction between the two is that a prospective cohort study is observational, while a clinical trial is experimental. In a prospective cohort study, a random sample of a group that has been exposed to a factor of interest is compared to a group that was not exposed to the factor. The researcher does not manipulate the two groups, but simply observes them within the population. In a clinical trial, researchers use randomization to assign a factor of interest to a treatment group and compare them to a control group that are not assigned the factor. Both of these studies are prospective and collect new data. Measures of association allow us to compare the impact of the different groups on the study outcome. For example, in a clinical trial, we could use measures of association to determine whether the treatment or control group has a stronger association with the outcome of interest. Two common measures of association are relative difference and relative risk. Relative difference takes the difference of the two groups of interest, while relative risk divides them. It's important to note that relative difference and relative risk are interpreted differently, and relative difference depends on sample size and prevalence, while relative risk is not affected by this.